Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Suki. I'm a senior, and this is my last year at Forest Lake.
What are some offensive things that you've experienced in your life and in Forest Lake?
Um, During junior high, when I transferred in, actually the racial slurs back then were a lot worse than they are now, and it got real bad to a point where a friend of mine had to go and tell the deans of what was happening, and the deans actually one by one called down probably about half the grade to be talked to.
So was that a really long process then?
Yeah.
What do you think would have been different if, while that was actually going on, if somebody would have kind of stood up for you and had your back as it was going on rather than being dealt with later?
I felt it would have been better to be have like someone stand up for me right then and there instead of like after all these months, like towards the end of school, like a friend just like being like, hey, like she's not okay because this has been going on all year instead of just
Mm-hmm.
like right there on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
And another one would be when at high school, a teacher had said that when they were at Target last night, the other night they were surrounded by like different races and like how they felt like as a minority and like unsafe. But like it kind of sucked because we're like I'm a minority, like I can't change that by my location, like I can't do anything about it. So it just felt wrong that like a teacher would say that, and like especially when like I know they didn't mean any harm or anything, but you know,
How would you have felt if one of the other students in the class, like one of your classmates, would have said something to the teacher and stood up for you?
um, I would have felt good because like like better because someone stood up for me and like realized like hey like what you're saying is wrong, like
Mm-hmm.
like we've got plenty of diverse and minority people here, like imagine how they feel every day.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Sharon. I'm a senior, and this is my second year in Forest Lake.
All right. So, what are some offensive things that you've experienced in your life and in Forest Lake?
I mean, there's quite a lot, but like, okay, I think the first one was in one of my fire classes. I'm not really good at sports at all, so we were
Mm-hmm.
having like a gym class or something, and obviously I can't make 3 pointers because I'm not good at basketball either. So one of the kids was just like, "How are you black and you're not good at this? This is the one thing black people are normally good at." And I was just like, "Okay." I didn't like know what to say at that time because I was sort of upset at the same time I was sort of confused and everything like that. So I was just like, okay, I just walked away. And then a couple of days after that, I was in pre-calc, and then I had my pre-calc test book around, and this one dude was like, "How are you? Wait, are you in pre-calc?" I'm just like, "Yeah." He's like, "Is that your book?" And I'm just like, "Well, yeah." And he's just like, "How are you blacking in pre-calc?" And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm just like, okay, so because I'm black, I'm definitely not smart or what? It's just like a couple of things just went through my mind, and I was like, okay. And then the more serious one I would say was in one of my classes. It was a table of four, like most classes are, and then this one guy was talking to this girl, and he was like ranting about how white people pay taxes so black people can live off them, and so black people can have kids and not take care of them, so they can rely on white people's taxes and food stamps and every other thing that white people pay for. But at the same time, black people want to be ungrateful despite all what these white people have done for them. And I would it really hurt me because I was sitting like right next to him. I mean, like, give me some recognition. Like, I'm sitting right here and I'm a black person. Like, that's offensive, that's rude, it's just a lot of things. And like, I was really, really hurt by that one. But then again, it's just like one of those things that really, really hurts you. And just like, I cannot believe that somebody would say that and like he's sitting right next to me. It was just like really, really confusing.
Mm-hmm. So, in any of these scenarios that you just described to me, how would you have felt if someone would have gone out of their way to say something to the person who was saying those things to you and confronted them and stood up for you and had your back? How would you have felt?
I mean, it would like definitely have felt a lot better, because like some it just feels good to have a voice when you feel like you've lost your own voice, or like to just have somebody who has your back when you feel like you're too weak to fight, and like when something just really hurts you deep, and if somebody would have just been able to stand up for me, I feel like it would have felt a whole lot better, because I was new, mind you, so it would have felt like not only am I like I'm in a good place at least, and I can feel good about this environment, like there are good people here, sort of like that.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Delgado. I'm a senior and I attend Forest Lake High School.
So, could you tell us about some offensive things that you've experienced in your life and here at Forest Lake?
Past experiences. There's been various. I mean, a little bit in Forest Lake, but mostly in Nebraska. In Nebraska, I feel like my first incident of racism was when I was in Best Buy. I was like 8, 7 years old. I was with my mom and dad and my little brother, and we were going there just to buy some. And two old couples came up to us, and they were like, "Hey, you beaners want to go outside and fight?" And we were just like, we were confused, we were baffled by this, I guess. And I didn't know what it was, and my dad was just scared because he's like, these people just came up to us wanting to fight, and they kept antagonizing us, wanting to fight and continuing, and we just left. And I think one here, I was in the locker room, and a kid asked me, he's like, "Oh, Delgado, did you vote?" I was like, I didn't answer. I was just, changing. And some kid answers for me. He's like, "No, he's Mexican. He can't." I was like, "Oh, okay." First of all, I'm not even Mexican, so that's funny. uh, I don't know. Just, there's various times where racism has been a part of me, I guess. It's nothing I could avoid.
So, how would you have felt if someone in that Best Buy store or in the locker room more recently would have stood up for you and kind of had your back in that situation and said something?
Well, I feel like that guy, I would continue talking to him. That guy would be my friend. There's a difference of having someone be there at the moment and having someone be there later. At the moment, I didn't have anybody, but
So, if somebody would have stood up for you, that would have made a big difference for you
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think that there's a difference too that you're joking about yourself and when someone else is joking about you, that sometimes they can take it too far?
Yeah.
Like you could definitely hear me joking around and stuff, and like I'll make fun of myself and like just like throw a joke out and stuff, but like some people just kind of like take it too far and don't know when, and it's just kind of like you just kind of have to play it off because like that's just how we have to like deal with it. Like we can't make that much of a big scene or else like we're the ones in trouble for it, not them. Like we can't do that much anyway, so we just have to take it.
I mean, there's a difference between joking and being offensive, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I won't lie, I joke around, but I don't joke about other people's races. I joke about me. As long as I know the person, I'm good friends with them. I know for sure that they're joking, and at the end they're just like, "I'm sorry if that went too far, but I was just joking." And that's why I hang out with the people I hang out with, because they accept me for who I am, and not where I came from or not what language I speak or whatever.
It's sort of like, I don't want to mix with you because you definitely say things that hurt me, or like you say racist things and stuff like that. It's okay. I'm gonna hang with people that I know have my back, and like people I know like are going through the same thing, and people I know won't like say stuff like this that I don't want to hear. Sort of like protecting yourself before it actually happens. And like also being mindful of what you say to people based on their religion. I feel like it's a big one, and I feel like you can't go around judging people or saying offensive things to people just because they're Muslim, or saying stuff that like really really hurts them, or like because they decide to be atheist or decide to be Christian. Just like the different, like just because you don't have the same religion doesn't mean you have to like hurt them or say stuff like that. I feel like they have the freedom to do what they want. So you saying those stuff really really hurts them, and I just don't feel like I don't think it's a right thing for us to do sort of like giving everybody the privilege, the freedom to do what they want, to make the choices that they want without you judging them or acting like you have like this remote control and you feel like you can control their lives in the way you want it to go. And when it doesn't go that way, then they're suddenly terrorists or they're awful people.
We're people too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're the same as you guys, and I don't know why it makes such a big difference from where we come or what language we speak or like the color of our skin. Like, that's the thing that people don't get is, we're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of our friends are kind of like trial and error. Like, we can't mix around freely like you guys. Like, oh, like this person gossiped and like backstabbed me, and so I'm not friends with that person anymore. Like, no, we can't be friends with this person because we know they're racist. Like, we know what kind of comments they say if we hang out with them and stuff. So we have to like change our friend groups like constantly. In junior high, like I used to get called a chink so much. Like, I'm so used to it now. But like when someone says it, like I'm just kind of like I can't throw a fit or anything about it. Like, it's just like it makes me look bad because like I'm gonna have a negative reaction towards it, but it's like people who like don't know me that well aren't gonna do anything about it. Like at the scene, like then I have to stick up for myself.
So again, it would probably help if somebody who, like, even if they don't know you well, heard that and said, "Hey, that's not okay. Like, you can't say that."
Yeah, like definitely. Like if someone like I don't like if a random like sophomore came up and was like, hey, like that's not fine. Like you can't say stuff like that. Like I'd actually feel like real good. Like that's like this person doesn't know me, but like they know what's wrong and what's right, and it's like, thank you.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people can be afraid to say something because, like you just said, like a sophomore and you're a senior.
Yeah.
Some would be like, "Oh, I'm so scared to come up to the senior and kind of defend her and or whoever it is."
Yeah.
And I think we really want to show people that it will make a difference. And I think you guys have proved that it does make a difference if someone says something.
Like it's not just like about racism. Like I mean, like I have friends who are gay too. Like I know they get dealt with like a lot of discrimination stuff, and it's like they feel the same things we do. Like honest, like that phrase, like "oh, that's so gay." Like that used to be like such a big thing and part of like social like culture that like we used to say that for stupid things, but it's like why did we ever do that? Going with like the LGBT stuff, like that's been a big deal in our school. Like I know there's been a few like people who have actually like had the courage to come out and like walk around school like knowing that people know like and that people like some people judge and stuff, and like it's just kind of like heartbreaking because like I know like some of my friends who have like the nicest heart about like racism and stuff, like they didn't have that heart whenever it came to like LGBT and stuff, which makes no sense. Like I'm a minority, they're minority. Like odds are if you're making fun of them, I'm gonna go stick with them instead of being friends with you. Okay, so last year I had a class with one of the people who came out, and they're actually like some really like negative and hateful things towards them where they didn't feel comfortable coming to class. Like no one should ever feel that unsafe that where they choose to drop out and just get their GED because of their like sexual orientation or like of their pronoun. Like that's not fine. Some people who just kind of like like threw like a blind eye towards it, but like that's not what we want. Like we don't want a blind eye. We want like upstanders. We want like people who will like stand up for them, even when they're not there.
Like they have a right to be here as much as you do. Just because their sexual orientation is different, like you want to like say all these mean things to them, they get really hurt, and you don't really see like the effect of what you've actually done. But it does go a long way. Like I said earlier, like dropping out of school just because of like what you like the kind of comments that you made and all the hate that this person is receiving, and there's obviously not that many people to stand up for like him or her like when they're going through all of this, so it's just sort of like just the little things that we do and how they turn to hurt people a lot more than we realize it. Like you drop the comment, you go on with your life, but this person sits there with the impact of what you've done and has to live with it daily and constantly has to feel down. But it won't have to be this way if we can all like learn how to be upstanders, learn how to accept people for who they are, like not judge people just because they're different from you.